Hi, this is Amanda DeWitt, and this is my Tableau Project 2 for my ISM class for Professor Warner. I would like to start out by introducing the data set that was given to me. So just from looking at this, we see the country, which is the United States, and it's separated into two regions, being the East and the South. Each state is described, their zip code, and cities in this state. Then we see the sales date per department. And this department is all like cardio equipment, so ellipticals, rowing machines, and treadmills are the three items that I will be analyzing. You see the item name, and then going over to the numerical side, we see the sales and the profit per each city, per each department. My first sheet is a very broad visualization showing pretty much all of the data that is relevant. I wanted to do this to try and find trends, and then right here is where I've noticed some trends starting in the eastern region. It seemed like they had a high profit, so I wanted to expand on that. Now this visualization is where I really wanted to notice if the trends that I have perceived were true. So I made a side-by-side comparison of the two regions, being the East and the South. The darker colors represent higher profit. So just by looking at this, I can see that the Eastern region had higher profit based off just these couple dark states up here. And then from my first slide, I noticed that the elliptical profits were higher than the rest of the departments. So I wanted to check on that as well. I created this chart that shows the sales for each date, the profits for each date. So we see that New York and Pennsylvania have the highest profit, these darker states in the middle here, and then you could see some states with like Maine and West Virginia have times with no profit at all. So now I just wanted a clear visualization that is just ellipticals and just the East. So I created this map, and when you drag your cursor along them, you could see the name of the state and their profit, even though it's already labeled. It's helpful for these smaller states like Rhode Island, where you can't really fit it all onto that little piece of land. So from this, I can visually see that New York and Pennsylvania have some of the highest profits. So they're obviously darker. I wanted to expand on this, so I filtered in all of the cities from each state, and I wanted to see how they matched up. We see that New York City is the highest profit in New York State, and then Philadelphia has the highest profit in Pennsylvania. Next, I created this interactive dashboard. It's a little hard to look at now, but when you press on a state, you could see the total profit per year, per department for that state. So we have Pennsylvania, Ohio, it's good for, again, these smaller states that you can't really get a firm grasp on by just looking at it. So I liked having the map and the bar chart next to each other, so it kind of goes into depth of what you're visually seeing. Next is my story. This is profit by department per region. This is, again, the first slide we had. It's just a broad visualization, like a generalization of all of the data. Makes it easier to look at than just the one spreadsheet. Next is this map comparing the two regions. So we split them into two, and then we could see that there's more profit in the Eastern region compared to the South, just based off the coloring. And here I really wanted to zero in on the profit per department, and I really wanted to focus on ellipticals because that seemed like it had the highest profit. Again, we could notice the trends here, New York, Pennsylvania. So here again, we have the interactive dashboard. I think this is important so viewers can look at the states for themselves and see the data as it presents itself for each state. So here I made this not interactive. I really wanted to include only New York State because it had one of the highest profit from ellipticals, and here we could just zero in on this information. Next, I did the same thing for the state of Pennsylvania. We could see all the data here, ellipticals clearly being the highest in both years. Now this is where I wanted to see which city had the most profit. So I filtered in all of the cities included in New York and Pennsylvania, and I was pretty surprised by my results. So I was thinking that New York City would have the highest profit, even though Pennsylvania had the highest state profit. So the cities are pretty close in, they're probably the two highest profits in the country. I wanted to make some conclusions on why this could be. So logically, I was thinking the climate probably had the most leverage on why they're making the most profit. So obviously, the east would be a little bit colder than the south, hence why these cities have more cardio equipment so they can't go outside. The infrastructure in these cities also allows for a lot of use of these workout equipment. So if I was a business, I would want to keep expanding on these trends and really target major cities. And this could include cities in the South. I would include Tampa, Miami, or Charleston even, because they all have the same similar infrastructure as these two cities in the East.